Leaders, please lead your people and not yourself. Grace and peace, everybody. Welcome to Sabbath School Study Group. This is it, part number 5 of our 5-part series. And we wrap up looking at failed leadership. And you know, the Bible is tragic in a lot of places, but at least we can use the tragedy as a context for triumph. We can figure out what not to do by what others have done. And it's failed leadership that made Israel susceptible to what happened in the chapter 32. But it's also faithful leadership that God uses in order to get Israel back on track. But before we dive in one more time, I want to thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. We love to stay in touch. That's the easiest way. Leave a comment or a question. The channel is small enough where I can respond to every comment or question we have by God's grace. And if you'd like to pass this on to someone else, do that. And even if you want us to come to where you are, just send us an email. And that email address is contact@changeministry.org. Exodus 32 is a powerful story. It really happened. And it really happened where Moses said to Aaron in verse 21, "What did this people unto thee that thou hast brought up so great a sin upon them?" In other words, Moses asked Aaron, "Have you lost your mind?" And look at what he said. Aaron said, "Let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people that they are set on mischief." So Aaron immediately pivots. He does an Adam, who then does an Eve, where when they were in the garden, they got caught. They both blamed someone else before they took responsibility. Leadership takes responsibility for the mistakes because it's leadership that bears responsibility for the mission that led to the mistake. He chooses to put it back on the people, and he fails by throwing blame on the very people who he was following. Now, wait a minute, I thought he was a leader. Exactly. That's what happens. When you lose your place as a leader, you actually will go into resenting the very people that you should be representing. That's why sin is so diabolical. It twists and perverts. This goes from being diabolical to delusional. Because he says unto them, "Whosoever hath any gold." So because he says here in verse 24, when he's explaining what happened when Moses was away, "I said unto them, whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off." So they gave it me, and then cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. Aaron starts to lie. Because he's believing a lie, he starts to defend the lie. That's where we are today. And we have people defending all of the lies of leadership when the Bible is so clear and so plain that if God had made any changes, he would have made the changes in the scriptures. It's not cultural, it's biblical, and it's not God's plan that we as men, and it's why, not just as men, but whoever and however you lead. If you're a single mother and you're the leader of your home, if you're an elder, if you're a deacon, if you're an usher, if you're working on the job remotely, if you're working at McDonald's, if you're working and you got your own business, God's called you to lead in your space. He's called you to be an example of his grace. And that's why when you look at what Aaron did, beware, because deception can lead to delusion and we lose our way and we lose a generation. That's what happens here in Exodus 32. And it's happening even now. But guess what? There was Aaron, but so was Moses. And if God could use Moses then, God needs and he can use Moses today in whatever he's called you to do. Remember 2 Corinthians 4, it's just required of a servant that we be faithful. And whatever your role is, stand in it and be